Good evening, one and all. I'm Reggie Harris, coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina, on behalf of the Living Legacy Project and the Living Legacy Pilgrimage. Welcome to our third in a series of Spring 2022 Civil Rights programs. Tonight, we have a fabulous program for you planned. I'm so glad you're joining us. And let's begin with a little song. A song that you can sing as you're beginning the end of the day here, wherever you may be tuning in from. In the shelter of each other, the people live. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Sing back to me. In the shelter of each other, in the shelter of our lives, we are open, we are dreaming, we are hopeful, we are wise. Let's sing that chorus together again. In the shelter of each other. In the shelter, in the shelter of each other, of each other. In the shelter of our lives, we are open, we are dreaming, we are hopeful, we are wise. You know that many times the weight of the world crashes in. We feel angry and afraid. We start to lose our sense of hope, our sense of direction. Isolation, we have learned, will not bring much in return if we truly cannot learn to live as one. Sing it with me. Right in the shelter of each other, of each other, in the shelter of our lives. Yeah, we are open, we are dreaming, we are hopeful, oh, we are wise. You know that many times the pain of the world crashes in. We feel broken and betrayed. We start to lose our sense of joy, our sense of connection. Yes, we do. And though our history remains, well, it's our actions we must change. If we hope to heal our planet, you know that we must stand right in the shelter, oh, of each other, in the shelter of our lives. We are open, yes, and we are dreaming, we are hopeful, we are wise. We are wise. the shelter of each other, the people live. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. And just sing with me another chorus or two. I'm going to sing this song in honor of all of those who have gone before us, who have paved the way in this great struggle for freedom and justice. And the song says, we will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on. That's what we're doing tonight. We are gathering in love. We are gathering to reinforce and re-energize ourselves. And we got the program for you tonight. And let's sing this chorus here. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. Been a long, hard journey on a winding road. So many have gone before us. They carried a heavy load, but they went there singing as they made their way. Now it's in their footsteps we follow as we work today. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. I know that you're weary. We all feel the pain. Sometimes the actions of the world will try your soul again, but I believe there's a better day, and it's coming our way. That's why we're raising our voices as we work today. We will not rest till the storm is over. Storm is over. We'll not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. All around us there's hatred. All around us there's fear. Violence touches our lives, and the message is clear. We mourn our martyrs. In our hearts they'll stay. Then we'll sing, we shall overcome and go on our way. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. Till we stand all together on solid ground. Till we stand all together on solid ground. And we are standing on solid ground tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to one and all to the third program in our spring 2022 virtual series on civil rights. I'm Reggie Harris, one of the co-presidents of the Living Legacy Project, and I thank you for joining us once again. For all of you who are new and have not joined us before, well, thank you for taking the time to jump in. And for all of our veterans here who've been following our series throughout the pandemic, thank you again for joining us. Your support and your generosity has been so much appreciated. And we thank you tonight for your generosity of spirit that brings you into the room tonight. Tonight, for all of you tuning in, we are going to take a fascinating journey. We are going to take a look at the Gullah Geechee culture in the low country of South Carolina, the Georgia Sea Islands. And we are gifted and blessed tonight to have two of the most exciting, the sisters of fire, I would say. They are here to share with you in song and story some of that marvelous culture that propelled the civil rights movement there on the eastern shore of the United States. Before we begin, however, I would like to say that the Living Legacy Project has been in operation actually since about 2009, and we are about the education of and the continuation of the struggle for civil and human rights here in America. As you know, that we've been programming online instead of in person since 2020. When the pandemic hit, we pivoted and began to program and to share a series of music, stories, and some amazing programs, of which this is part tonight. I'm hoping that you will stay tuned at the end of our program tonight for a very, very special, exciting announcement. And I'm not going to give it away, but we are ready to move forward as the pandemic is tailing, and we're going to have an announcement of our future plans for the Living Legacy Project at the end of this program. So stay tuned for that special announcement. We are so grateful to all of you for the work that you're doing in this time of struggle and challenge. And tonight is going to energize you so that you are ready to take action and get out there and make some things happen in this critical year of voting rights and civil rights, as we know that the forces of oppression are hard at work. And tonight, we are blessed with two of the most exciting, knowledgeable, and spirit-filled performers. They are going to take us on a journey tonight to the southeast United States coast. They're going to take us through an extraordinary experience of the Gullah Geechee people in embodying their freedom story and their story of perseverance in the civil rights movement. With us tonight, Melanie DeMore and Diane Ferlatte. They are here. We are blessed. My sisters, take us away.
Hey, so good to see you, Reggie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, be here. And I always love hearing your songs, baby. We are glad to be here. We can't. Look, we already pounding.
I can hear you over there. I can hear you.
We're so glad we're here. We're so glad we're here. We're so glad we're here to share some stories and songs. We're so glad we're here. We're so glad we're here. So glad we're here to share some stories and songs. When I go to schools, kids always ask me, Diane, how come you always have that stick? I'm going to tell you why I have that stick. Because see, when I go to schools and the kids fall asleep, no, just kidding. Just kidding. Why I have my stick is sometimes I got to go back to go forward in the right direction. Some people have forgotten. Some people don't even know about the time Africans were taken from Africa, put into chains, put onto boats, and taken across the ocean all the way to America. And when they got to America, they were sold into slavery. And everything was taken away, even their names. No more African name. Your name is Bob. And no more African language either. They taught us how to speak English, like I'm speaking to you now. And no more playing the drum. They thought we were sending messages to each other on the drum. And we were. But even though they took the drum away, guess what? They couldn't stop the beat. When I went to my grandmother's church out in the country in Louisiana, small little country church, they didn't have piano, guitar, no instruments at all. But everybody in that little church had their feet, and you would hear this. and they would sing to that rhythm. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light, this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. If they didn't want to use their feet, they used their hands to make rhythm. They didn't want to use their feet, they didn't want to use their hands, they made rhythm with a stick. Wooden spoons, pots, pans, buckets, anything they could find. You see, you can try and take everything away. But some things came with us across the ocean. Our rhythm, our music, our dance, our
and the
song.
thing is, we are the rhythm of the drum. We carry it with us all the time. Well, so when you take something that we know, and you throw a little grease on it, like this stick rhythm here. So if you take something like this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, but then you can funk it up with this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. You let this little light, this little light. I'm gonna let it shine. And I hope you are standing up in your living room or wherever you are, and you are throwing your head back, and you are clapping, and you are moving your feet, and understanding that that connects you to all of our ancestors way, way back. This rhythm is a conduit to freedom and connection. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You know, this little light, this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now in the tradition, when it starts to feel real good to the people,
Yeah.
the tempo picks up. And the people just start, all of a sudden they've been bent over like this, bent over, and they hear this rhythm, and all of a sudden they feel their connection to the ancestors and to the light, and they just want to be in their full, powerful self, connected all the way across the ocean. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. You know that everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Woo! Diane, one of the best storytellers ever. Tell us, will you tell me a story?
Well, back in 1989, I took a trip of a lifetime. I went to the Georgia Sea Islands. Yes, sir. I wanted to know about the Gullah people. I heard so much about them when I did a program at the San Francisco Craft and Folk Art Museum, which is gone now. But I learned about this island. I learned about these people. Gullah, what's Gullah? So I went to gather stories from Sepulveda Island, one of the last remaining communities of Gullah people. I live in a community. Well, I heard a story about one time these Igbos who came from what is now Nigeria. You see, a lot of African Americans don't know where they come from. I wanted to be in the know, so I did my DNA. And I found out my mother's DNA came from Nigeria. Igbo. I went, I'm Igbo? So when I heard this story, oh, it meant so much to me about these Igbos being taken from Africa, put into chains, put on the boats, and brought all the way across the ocean. Some didn't make it. Some died and were thrown overboard to the sharks. But those who made it When they got to Savannah, they were sold and then put in another boat and brought to St. Simon's Island, Dunbar Creek. And when they arrived there, these Igbos took over the crew of the ship, made them walk into the water and drowned. And then they all stood there and supper was going on, all these enslaved people. And they all just stood there in one mind, one voice, singing in their own language. Before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. And you know what those Igbos did? They chained themselves together hand in hand. They were chained already by foot, but hand in hand, they chained themselves together. And they began to walk back into that water. And as they walked, they were heard chanting in their own language. The water brought us, the water will bring us back. They were marching back to Africa, to freedom. But they got a slave's freedom. They drowned. They drowned. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. They say a similar story was told on that island. They say one time, those Igbos, they were out there and they were running away. And Massa, he was coming after them to whip them. Come back here! Come back here! And they kept running. They kept running. They kept running. And when he got there to where they were going around in a circle like so. And just as he come up to get them, those Africans, they say, folks on that island saw this. Those Africans stepped up on the air, just like climbing a gate. And they just flew away. And one of those old folks on the island said, but some of us couldn't fly, baby. We're just stuck down here on Sepulveda. Down on Sepulveda. Just stuck.
Yeah. Okay. Just stuck. Well, here's the thing. One of my favorite Gullah spirituals is one called "Throw Me Anywhere, Lord, in That Old Field." And now, with this particular song, you know, in the Gullah tradition, there's a lot of call and response, and because of the folks on these islands were separate from the mainland, they had a lot more of their Africanisms that they were still connected to. And you know, this is the power of song and music. And this song, "Throw Me Anywhere, Lord," has a dance with it called the Buzzard Lope Dance. And when it was first done, the dancer's a dancer, and he represents a buzzard. And you know, the dancer comes in and throws an old rag in the middle of the circle. And the rag represents the body of a dead cow or a dead mule. And the dancer, you know how buzzard and things are. Everything's got to be really, really dead before they'll pounce down and have some lunch. So the dancer is doing all of this, and then at a certain point, when the buzzard is sure that that dead cow is really dead, it leaps down and has supper. Well, as time went by, the story changed. The dancer was no longer a buzzard. The dancer was now an angel. And the dead cow or the dead mule was no longer a dead cow or the dead mule. It was the body of a dying, enslaved African. And the dancer, who is an angel, began to be a witness, an observer, a watcher, a caretaker. And when the angel was sure that the soul was leaving the body of that enslaved African, he would reach and take the soul and release it into freedom. That is the power of song. That is what the people knew that they needed to nourish themselves with that. And can you imagine out there in the middle of the woods, the music is going, and the moment when that angel reaches down and releases that soul into freedom, the people are just like, no matter what you do to me here,
Right.
I know where I'm going, and I know who I am, and I know that I'm a real person. That is the power of rhythm and music and song. And so when you hear that, throw me anywhere, Lord, in that old field. Well, throw me anywhere, Lord, in that old field. Whoa, throw me anywhere, Lord, in that old field. Oh, throw me anywhere, Lord, in that old field. Oh, I don't care where you throw me in that old field. Oh, I don't care where you throw me in that old field. Well, throw me anywhere, Lord, in that old field. Oh, now throw me anywhere, Lord, in that old field. See, that's just it. You can do all kinds of things to me, to us, but we know who we are, we know where we come from, and we know where we're going. That's what this is. Throw me anywhere, don't matter.
No matter.
Don't matter.
And with my time on Sepulveda Island, when I got there, they took me to the graveyard. Yes, they
Was it
did.
scary?
No,
No,
not too scary.
not too scary.
When I walked in, I'm looking around, all these graveyards are so old. Old
Like, what do you mean
tombstones.
by old?
Sometimes they were like so old, they were like sinking in the ground. Wow. And when I walked around, I said, I gotta see who these people are. I got some tree moss. And I got that moss and I rubbed it on those headstones. Ooh, folks born in 1792, 1802. I was standing on the grave of slaves. Slaves. And one of the people I talked to, an old man, told me, he goes to Igbos again. These Igbos came on the island and he went, no. They were hard to train to be enslaved.
Was they unruly?
Yeah, unruly,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm part of Igbo.
I
Unruly. They would break tools.
She's unruly.
They would break tools, get sick, never did any work. One time they were running. They were running, and ran into the woods. They ran into the woods and they told them, they got to come out. They had trying to shoot guns at them, trying to get them to come out. They wouldn't come out. And they told them finally, if you just behave, we'll let you go. We won't hurt you. Just come on out. Come on out. Just behave. Never did come out. And that same spot where I went, it's still called Behavior Graveyard. That's where that name came from, you see. Now, Miss Mattie, Miss Mattie, she's one of the people on the island that finally decided to connect with me because I was an outsider. Not that many people wanted to talk to an outsider. But finally, one day she said, come here, baby. It was after church. And she invited me to dinner. I went, ooh, I like dinner.
Person got it.
Yeah. And she brought me over and she was talking to me, eating the dinner. It got real late at night. Went out on her porch. And she was real comfortable then. Took off her wig. And she said, you see that woman down there? And told me all her business. She went, but don't say it came from me. Matter what she told me, she always said, don't say it came from me.
You did not hear it from me?
Well, she said, I just love it here on Sepulveda. No crime, no drugs, none of that kind of stuff. But things sure change. Look at me now, I'm old now. I can't hardly do for myself. But I do for myself. I got to. Folks ask me, how come I chop my own wood? I told them, you can't suck mammy, suck granny. You can't suck granny, suck a woolen rag. I know how to make it. And she said, people just die now, and they just put them on the boat in a garbage bag and take them to the undertaker on the mainland. But when I die, she said, I want my body to stay right here in Behavior Graveyard. I hope I have one of those old setups. Well, you young folks don't know about setups, do you? Back then on the island, we ain't had no undertaker. We didn't have no funeral home. When somebody died, you just wash the body off, you know, and put it on a cooling board. Mm-hmm. And you put a penny over the eye to keep the eyes closed, tie a rag around the jaw to keep the mouth closed. That's the way it was. And they put them in Behavior Graveyard. People come here and sit all night, all day. They don't let the poor soul to go out alone. Then she said to me, when the old bell tolled for me, I want y'all to bury me right here in Behavior Graveyard. That's where I want to go. Then she said, even the old bells don't toll no more. But I remember one time it tolled for little old Cornelia. Cornelia wasn't no more than 3 or 4 years old. Just a child. She stopped breathing. And all the women folk in the house trying to take care of her, doing everything they could for her, but she wouldn't breathe. And finally, old grandmother Katie Brown said, she gone. And they pulled the pillow from under her head. But then one of the other aunts from the other side of the island, she came to the house and she walked in. She said, let me see that child. And she walked in. And they said she made a poultice for her chest and patted her down and put some garlic up her nose. And honey, baby child, don't you know that child moved? Like to scare everybody to death. Oh, Lord. They said folks come back from the dead can see things. And to this day, folks on the island gave Cornelia Bailey credit that she could see everything. And she knew everything that went on this island. She had eyes in the back of her head. But poor Cornelia Bailey, she gone now. I remember sitting on her porch talking about how she heard the bell toll for her. And she heard old Katie Brown say, she gone. I said, no, you're making that up. No, I heard the bell toll. I heard Katie Brown say, she gone. And she over there in Behavior Graveyard. Sure is. With Miss Mattie. That's where she always wanted to be buried. In Behavior Graveyard.
Well, you know, the tradition on the Sea Islands is that when somebody leaves their corporeal bodies and they die, they bury them so that their eyes are facing the ocean so that their spirits can go back home. You see that all on all those islands. That idea that no matter what, you got your wings. Yep. And they take you back home. And there's this song called Lay Down Body, and it starts out like this because you know how folks is. You know, they just be rocking and moaning. And it starts out, and this is another one of those Gullah spirituals where it's like, it don't matter the body is tired, but the spirit is strong. Mm-hmm. So they'll start out, they'll go, lay down, body, lay down, little while, lay down, body, lay down, little while, body is so tired, lay down, little while, body is so tired, lay down, little while, and then they'll go, lay down a little while, 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 my body, lay down body is so tired. Lay down, little while, body is so tired. Lay down, little while, lay down a little while. 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 Yeah.
Now, I went to Cipolo Island back in 1989 to gather stories. And I went to gather brer rabbit stories, really, and or animal stories, folklore. But that's not what I got. You have to take what you get. I got a lot of historical stuff, Behavior Graveyard, Ebo's Landing, all these old stories, the bell toll, all these old stories I got. But our ancestors, even there, they told a lot of stories about this little rabbit who was always able to survive and overcome the bigger, stronger animals by using his head.
Because you know what? We smart.
You see, if you had to be a slave, you best be a smart one. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had a brer rabbit story, but I think it's going to be a little bit too long for the time we have left. Oh, that's just a little bit too bad because I don't have time to tell that story.
Well, you know what? Maybe they'll ask us to come back again. I'm just saying.
I'm just well. Oh, I was going to tell that story, but go quick. I can tell a little short one, another story, because they told a lot of stories. Because see, a lot of things we couldn't say out loud. We had to be very careful what we said and who we said it to during the time of slavery. But they found a way to get their feelings out through stories.
Like way out of Norway, kind of like that?
Yeah, you know. Yeah. And one time, a guy named Ike was going up to the master's room to clean it, as usual. And the master, he loved sharing stories about the dreams he claimed he had last night. And Ike always had to admit the master had the best story. Yeah, master, you beat me, you had the best story. But one time he went up to the master's room to clean it. The master's still in bed. He said, Master, something wrong? Oh, like I had a terrible dream, terrible dream. He would tell me about it. Oh, it was too terrible to tell. Now, no, you're going to tell me, Master, you always do. Well, last night I dreamt I went to black man's heaven. Oh, you should have seen it. He said it was all garbage everywhere. The old houses all collapsing. The fences all broken down. There was watermelon rinds everywhere, chicken bones everywhere. You know, raggedy men, women, and children running all around. It was just awful. And Ike looked at the master, and he said the three most important words in African American culture. You know, Master, I had the same dream last night. We must have ate the same thing. Because last night, I remember I went to white man's heaven. You did? Tell me about it, Ike. Oh, Master, it was just like you said. The old streets paved with silver and gold. There was plenty of milk and honey. Oh, you should have seen those mansions. Oh, Master, it was so beautiful. But Master, there's only one thing wrong. Master said, wrong? What could be wrong? There was nobody there. I got shoes, you got shoes, all of God's children got shoes. When we get to heaven, gonna put on my shoes, we're gonna walk all over God's heaven, heaven, heaven. Everybody talking about heaven, ain't going there, heaven, heaven. We're gonna walk all over God's heaven. Yeah.
I gotta say, this has been wonderful to
sure
be with you. And might this be?
This is the last time. This is so sad. 5 o'clock. It's over.
Is it over?
Yeah.
Is it? Are you sure?
This may be the last time. This may be the last time. This may be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Maybe the last time. I don't know. It may be the last time. Maybe the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Maybe the last time. This may be the the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Well, maybe the last time. I don't know. Maybe the last time. I don't know.
Where you at, Reg?
I'm right here. And yes, indeed.
Where's your face?
We actually. Oh, are you not seeing my face?
Now I
No,
am.
we didn't see your face.
My bright red shirt is.
I see your red shirt.
Actually, we have more time.
We do? Excellent. Tell that story.
Tell a story?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gonna tell this one?
Yeah. My grandfather lived to be, I'll tell it fast. My grandfather lived to be 107 years old. And when he was a young man, he said he couldn't go to the big fancy stores we have today, like, Trader Joe's, Safeway, Whole Paycheck. He said he couldn't go to those stores. You know why? Because there was none. He said, if you want something to eat, you better have a garden. Everybody had a garden back then, he said. He had everything in his garden he wanted to eat. He had corn, he had turnip greens, he had collard greens, he had carrots, he had okra, string beans, everything in his garden. And when he wanted some meat, he had to go out hunting. And one night, my grandfather went out hunting. It was dark too. Ooh. He went out there in the woods. He wasn't gone very long. He came home with a great, big, fat raccoon. Ooh, big, bushy tail. My grandfather took that raccoon home and skinned it, cooked it, and ate it. Yes, another time. He went out. Wasn't no moon shining. Ooh. He went out there to catch something. Came home with a great, big, fat possum. Now, possum didn't have a bushy tail. No. Had a long, skinny tail with no hair on it, like a rat's tail. But even though possum's tail was long and skinny, possum's tail was strong. He'd wrap it around a tree branch and swing upside down all day long. One day, he uncurled his tail and jumped down to the ground. And he said, duh, I think I'll go visit my good friend, Brer Rabbit. And off he went, just to singing, good day for walking, no need for talking. I'm good. And he stopped. He saw right in front of him a great, big, long snake. Ooh, that's a snake. He might bite me. So Possum went all the way around to get away from that snake, and he took off as fast as he could go. But everybody knows Possums are real slow. He said, ooh, that was close. And he headed on down the road going to Brer Rabbit's. Good day for walking. No need for when he hears, Brer Possum, Brer Possum. That sounds like Brer Snake calling me. I wonder what he wants. Now, Possum is a kind critter. Always like to help others out. Always try to be kind and do the right thing. Before you do that, you have to think. Without even thinking, you know what Possum did? Turned around and went back to see what that snake wanted. When he got back there, he didn't get too close. Bro Snake, is that you calling me? That snake looked up with those little red beady eyes and said, psst, pah. Bro Possum, I'm down here with this brick on my back. I was wondering if you'd take that brick off my back and help me. If I take that brick off your back, you'd bite me. And the snake said, psst, bah, I won't bite you. I won't bite you. Possum said, you sure? I'm sure.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
And Possum looked down. Oh, that snake. He did look pitiful. All right, I'll help you. He looked around, he got a stick. He put that stick under the brick. Real careful, like, he flipped the brick, threw the stick, and took off as fast as he could go. But y'all know, that was real slow. Ooh, that was close. And headed on out to see Brer Rabbit. Ooh, good day for walking. No need for... When he heard it again, Brer Possum, don't leave me. That sounds like Brer Snake calling me. What do you want? I took the brick off his back. He went back. You know how he is kind, like to help others out. When he got back, he said, Brer Snake, is that you calling me? Brer Possum, I was down here with that brick on my back so long, I just got so cold. And I was wondering, Brer Possum, if you just pick me up and put me in your pocket to keep me warm. Are you crazy? If I pick you up, you'd sure enough bite me. I won't bite you. I won't bite you. Possum said, you sure? I'm sure. And Possum looked down at that snake. He did look cold. All right, girl, call up, call up. I'll help you. He leaned down to pick him up to put him in his pocket. He put him in his pocket and headed down to try to get to Brer Rabbit's house. Good day for walking, no need for talking. Going down the road to see my friend. And pretty soon, that snake was so quiet and so still. Possum forgot the snake was even in his pocket, just to singing, good day for walking, no need for shoo. Up popped the snake and looked Possum right in the eye and said, psst, bah. I'm gonna bite you, bro, Possum. I'm gonna bite you. Possum said, huh? Why would you want to do that? I took the brick off your back, put you in my pocket to keep you warm. Why would you want to bite me? And the snake said, psst, bah. I don't know. I guess it must be my nature. Oh, but look, I'm going to see my good friend Brer Rabbit. Just let me go say goodbye before I die. And the snake said, psst, bah. All right, I won't bite you yet. And he went back into the pocket. And Possum headed on down to Brer Rabbit. And he saw Brer Rabbit on his front porch, sitting in his swing. And when Brer Rabbit saw Possum come, he said, hey, Brer Possum, what's up? And Possum said, oh, Brer Rabbit, I'm not doing too good. What's the matter with you? Shh, Brer Rabbit, I got a snake. What you do? What you doing with a snake in your pocket, Brer Possum? Don't you know snakes are dangerous? They will bite you. And Possum said, I know now. How did this happen? You got to show me step by step how this happened. You take me and show me. All right. And they all went back to where it all started. There was the brick. Where were you standing, Bro Possum? Oh, I was standing right here. And where were you, Bro Snake? Snake came up, stretched himself on the ground. I was right here on the ground. And where was the brick? The brick was on top of Bro Snake's back. Brer Rabbit looked at the brick, looked at the snake, looked at the brick and the snake. Then Brer Rabbit picked up the brick, put it on the snake's back. You mean like that? Mm-hmm. And that's where it's gonna stay. And that's where you're gonna stay too, Bro Snake, on the ground and not in people's pockets. And you, Bro Possum, I sure hope you learn your lesson. Because when you see trouble and you know it's trouble, leave it alone. That's all to it. If you see trouble and you know it's trouble, you better leave it alone. You better leave it alone. Fast speed.
Oh, I love that story.
Possum and the snake.
Possum and the snake.
Yeah.
Well, where are you, baby?
I'm right here. We
Okay.
have about 10 minutes left. I just want to,
Oh, good.
I know that both of you have spent so much time down in that area, and it is one of the most fascinating areas in terms of stories and the songs that rise out of there, with the fact that they were in such a different environment and with such a different kind of freedom within oppression.
Yeah, it was very interesting there, because what would happen is that the folks would be, first of all, the folks were brought on those islands for their expertise as well, because the cash crops on the sea islands was rice. Right. The folks from that area knew how to grow rice. So the main crops was that and indigo. And trying to do indigo with your bare hands, it was horrible. But the spirituals on those islands were very, very different, because they were disconnected from the mainland.
Yeah.
And I remember some of my students saying to me, they say, well, Mr. Moore, because they would just leave 1 or 2 overseers in the summer because because it was just too hot. And my students would say, Mr. Moore, then why didn't they just get in the water and escape? I said, where are they going to go? I said, where were they going to go? And so you have to figure out, because I do this whole series of workshops with pounding sticks, and about how the Gullah people created a language that all of them could understand, because they came from different traditions and different tribes, different dialects and all of that. And the thing is that when you have a common language, then you can tell each other your stories. And then if you think about it, if you think about our ancestors with knowing those stories, sometimes we forget who we are. We're in a situation where we can't feel ourselves. If somebody else knows our story, they can remind us where we came from and who we are. And one of the Gullah spirituals that most people have no idea is a Gullah spiritual, and comes from that is, come by here, my Lord. Come by here. Come by here, my Lord. Come by here. Come by here, my Lord. Come by here, oh Lord. Come by here. And most people aren't aware of what that song is really about. So folks that are on this call, please promise me that you will never ever use the phrase a kumbaya moment. Has nothing to do with the song.
No.
Because what you might think about that song, you think about that lone voice calling out to be seen as a real human being. Don't leave me here shackled to this madness.
Please come here.
Please come here. Don't leave me here.
One of the important points that you just pointed out, I want to revisit it so folks can really, really focus on it. The fact that they brought people from Africa who already had those skills.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't random. That's what people think. That they knew that, okay, these folks here know how to do what we need done. Right. And they also know how to do it better than we know how to do it. You know, and my father was from South Carolina, not very far from St. Helena, which is where the Gullah Museum is in St. Helena. And it's really interesting. My father, who just died in 2014, he was only born 60 years after the signing of the Emancipation. That's how close.
It's not that far.
It's not that far. And, you know, this is the thing, and knowing where our roots are and where we come from. And, you know, some of my students say, Mr. Moore, I don't want to talk. So, look, baby, do you know how strong your grandma and great grandma had to be? Because you're here, aren't you? Driving me nuts. You're here. How brave and how strong do they have to be in order for you to be sitting here, you know, getting on my last nerve today in class, you know? But that's when you think about that, and you think about, you know, my father's grandfather was born a slave.
Mine too.
Born into slavery. Right?
These are the powerful connections of past and present. And where do you, when you share this with, you know, schools, obviously we're all now beginning to go back into in-person performances and go, what are the basic lessons from that particular area are you highlighting in terms of, you know, things that we can extract for our struggle today?
Well, primarily for me, it's a matter of how do you make community? How do you stand up for each other?
Right.
We cannot do what we need to do alone. We can't. So, and that's the thing that got us to where we are, is the making of community. And I think part of the problem is that you got to make room and space for everybody at the table.
Everybody.
And it's not just see, our job as activists and as awake and living people is to make sure there's a seat for everybody at that table. Their job is to sit their behinds down in it. But we got to make sure there's a space for them. And the only qualifications, and this is hard if you're an activist, is that they got to be breathing. And Diane's been a storyteller for a long time, just a few minutes.
Years, yeah. 35 years or so, yeah.
And you just got back from Bermuda, is that correct?
Yes, and it's a different story over there. Africans brought to Bermuda. And one man who drove me around, my driver, he called himself an onion. And what that meant is that he says, I said, were you born on Bermuda? Yes, I was born here. My parents were born here. But his parents were born here. Layers and layers and layers, like an onion. Yeah. He said, yeah, I'm an onion. And then when I went around to other people, I said, are you an onion? Yeah, I didn't know about onion. And I met a few people that were onions that were living there a long time on Bermuda, on the island. It's that island living community.
And that's it, community. And tradition.
It's about community.
Yeah. I mean, we would not be here without that connection. And that's what in these days, we have to get as many different sorts of people at the table as we possibly can. It will not change. It will not change unless we're all there. And when we lost when George Floyd was lynched, and that song "Come By Here" was so important to me at that time, because I imagine this man calling for his mother, and don't leave me here. I am weeping. Come by here.
Yeah.
One of
And
the
that's go
All right,
ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
That's all right, Don. Go ahead.
I was going to say one of the issues, of course, in that area has been for years is the influx of folks from away,
Hmm.
the golf courses and the development. Can you talk a little bit about how the community has dealt with that?
Well, Hilton Head now is pretty much
Most of the islands have or just been, you know,
Hilton Head is completely a gated community now.
yeah, it's taken over. Only one that's left is basically Sepulveda. And
Sepulveda.
Sepulveda only has 30 people, and it used to be like a lot more, hundreds of people that were there, but now it's down less than 30 in the community. Last time I went there, I saw a guy was telling me, yeah, it used to be all black folks here. That house over there, white fella got that. That trailer over there, white fella got that too. And when I went there, was big houses.
Mhm.
They have small little houses, but they were big houses. Now they have places you can rent, for several $100s a night, and so it's changing, and they're buying them out, and they can't afford the taxes, and I just hate to see it, but
They're still
they're holding on. They're trying to hold on.
If you go if you get a chance to go to the Gullah Festival, which happens in St. Helena,
And it's one on Sepulveda too.
yeah, and the one in St. Helena was where the big Gullah Museum is. It's that, so you go there, and it was amazing. I met a man there. I think his name was Mr. McMillan. This guy he's one of them brothers, he was about 150,000 years old, and he was taking me around, and he would look and he'd go, mm-hmm. And I'd go, yes, sir. And he'd go, mm-hmm. And I'd go, yes, sir. And he'd go, mm-hmm. That's the tree. And you did not rush him. And I would go, yes, sir. He'd go, that is the tree. And I'd go, that's it. And he said, that is the emancipation tree. And I went, what? He said, that tree is where all the people were told that they were free. Now, see, my family comes from not very far from that. All of a sudden, I was like, my great could have been standing here when they got the, and it's just a tree in somebody's yard. But that is the emancipation tree. Where they got the news. And I mean, that's there. And if you go to the Sea Islands, it's amazing, even though it's just like everything else. Somehow we managed to hold on to who we are in a situation that's trying to make us disappear. The folks are hanging on in there.
But it's through story and song that happens.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Sweet glass baskets, the stories, folks are still
that's
speaking the language.
That's what makes the culture.
Yeah.
The language, the music, the songs, the baskets,
The stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that we were able to actually go down to Penn Center last November.
Nice.
And
you did?
yeah, we went down and had
Love
a Legacy Project board, had our meeting, yearly meeting there, and then a few of us went over to Charleston and met with the folks at the new upcoming International African American Museum.
Very good.
Thrilled to say that there is a new influx of energy coming into the area from that museum, and also from, as you mentioned, Gullah Festival. When does the Gullah Festival run again?
Well, I think
One on Sepulveda in September.
Okay.
they're always I think they're in November. Is that
One on Sepulveda in September, but things have changed since this COVID. So you have to find out when it is. I don't know.
Yeah, and I if you get a chance to go to the Penn Center, it's pretty extraordinary. And I was there because Hilton Head was when I was there. I was doing a residency down on Hilton Head and the Penn Center, and I was there when they initiated the Gullah Museum on Hilton Head, and there was this old sister there. It was amazing. She just started singing, and the whole idea is that everybody knows what to do. I nearly lost my mind. Everybody started pounding on the table, and everybody knew what to do. And it was just one of the most exhilarating things I ever heard in my life, and it's like,
but there's community.
There's community, and the fact that no matter, here they are on Hilton Head, and I mean, they're squeezed into a little space.
Mm-hmm.
They are thriving in their own, because we always know. We know how to thrive in a situation where there seems to be no way. We know, baby, we invented a way out of no way.
Amen.
Yeah.
Talking about way out of no way, can you gift us with one more song, and then we're going to close off and make an announcement, and we know that we have you for a question and answer after for about 30 minutes. So
yeah,
let's do one more song.
What should we do?
You start something and I'll follow you.
Way down yonder, way shoot, beyond the moon, shoot, shoot. I got a letter, shoot, shoot, from Elmer Jones, shoot, shoot. Ain't but one thing, shoot, shoot. I can't stand, shoot, shoot. That's putting on airs and trying to dance. That chicken soup, soup, soup. That turtle soup, soup, soup. That buzzard soup, soup, soup. That elephant soup, soup, soup. Why don't you come to my party, soup, soup. Take a seat, soup, soup. Just don't ask, soup, soup. For none to eat. None of that chicken soup, soup, soup. That turtle soup, soup, soup. That buzzard soup, soup, soup. Monkey soup, soup, soup. Monkey, come on in, soup, soup. Take a seat, soup, soup. Just don't ask, soup, soup. For none to eat. None of that chicken soup, that turtle soup.
Thanks for being with us, y'all.
That rabbit soup.
Yeah, I love that rabbit soup.
That elephant soup. Elephant soup. Soup, soup. Way down yonder. Soup, soup. Beyond the moon. Soup, soup. I got a letter. Soup, soup. From Elmer Jones.
Well, Elmer. Soup.
Ain't but one thing. I can't stand. That's putting on airs and trying to dance. And trying to dance. That chicken soup, soup, soup. That buzzard soup, soup, soup. Chicken soup, soup, soup. Turtle soup, soup, soup. Monkey soup, soup, soup. All right.
Soup, soup.
Yeah.
Now, that's the real deal. Thank you both for a wonderful evening of song and of story and of spirit, passing from that time that when those songs came alive. They are so alive with us now in this time of challenge and change. And we're going to invite folks to join you and join me in the. There's another link to a room where you can come and spend a little bit more time with our guests here tonight.
All right.
Asking some questions and having a little bit of conversation. So thank you both, Diane Ferlatte and Melanie DeMore. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And folks, I promise
You made it, alligator.
oh yeah.
After a while, I can die.
I'll just mute us, because once we get started, there's no stopping.
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
What am I to do with you? I promised all of you, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I promised you with an announcement, an exciting announcement from the Living Legacy Project, and here it is. I want to extend, first of all, my appreciation to Diane and to Melanie for bringing that spirit alive. The spirit is made alive so often when we travel to those places, when we make it possible for people to be in the air of the places where the civil rights movement and that spirit first came alive and continues to come alive. And it is with great joy in this evening that I am announcing that COVID permitting, the Living Legacy Project will be back on the road, and that we will be back on the bus with our first in-person pilgrimage. That will take place starting on October 19th. It will run for 5 days, and we will start in Memphis, Tennessee, with spots to visit and to take in the the National Civil Rights Museum at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. We will visit Fannie Lou Hamer's home in Ruralville, and we will visit many more sites of the civil rights movement in Mississippi, sites important then and important now. The itinerary is still being finalized, but we can promise you that our work of taking you to those places is ready to begin. So, I'm going to tell you now that registration will open soon. You can register on our website, livinglegacypilgrimage.org. And we expect this opportunity to fill up very quickly because we know that we have lots of interest from folks who have been ready to get back on the bus for a long time. So the announcement is out. October 19th, 2022. Come and join us back on the bus. A 5-day pilgrimage where we can re-energize ourselves with song, with the actual experience of being together in those places that bear so much of the history, and those places where people are working now. We will share the stories of those civil rights veterans who are waiting to join us again. So thank you so much for the patience through this COVID pandemic, and we're ready to get back on the bus. I'm going to leave you with this, and I thank you for joining us tonight. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, don't you know the road by the praying on? Listen, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, yes, my Lord. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Love that song.
Thank you
Indeed.
so much. See, join us in the Q room, and remember, October 19th, come join us on the bus. Thank you so much for joining us.